Welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev.
My name is Murigi.
And today we have something amazing from Coventry, England. The big cat that's ready to pounce on today's show. But first things first,
let's check out the highlights of today's show.
this week on Cars with Big Boy Trev. Wondering how to maintain your braking system in tip-top condition? We give you tips on how to brake bleed and adjust your braking system. And finally, we go all the way to Coventry, England to sample Jaguar's fast and ferocious F-Pace SUV, show you how it performs, and of course give you a value for money analysis on how it stacks up against the rivals. This and much more only on Cars with Big Boy Trev. From the walk around, you've seen now how Jaguar have implemented this brand new design, and I can tell you matters are not different inside. Remember, this particular car is playing in the league of the Porsche Cayenne and the BMW X5, so as far as quality, performance and sophistication is concerned, it had to be up there. And Jaguar actually introduced this particular car in 2017 courtesy of Ian Callum, who's the chief designer then of Jaguar brand, and of course this was Jaguar's first premium SUV. They were always used to building saloon cars, but now they're getting into that premium crossover / premium SUV space. So matters inside are not different. As you can see from the dashboard, it's a one-piece design, and of course you can see leather on top of the dashboard, and of course contrast stitching, which makes this car have that plush premium European feeling. Obviously, as you can see here, you do have stainless steel on the glove compartment, on the lip, and of course on the AC vents. Moving over to the instrument pinnacle, matters are not different. Piano black finish across the whole panel, and of course this panel actually houses this massive screen, high resolution Jaguar in control screen that actually allows you to control certain aspects of the vehicle, from navigation to radio to Bluetooth pairing to every single vehicle dynamic you can ever think of. It's right there. And this particular screen is also found on different Jaguar Land Rover families. You watch the review of the Land Rover Discovery, similar system, but now enhanced for Jaguar purposes, obviously. Right below it, obviously, you do have the climate control, which is dual zone, so the passenger and the driver can have different settings, making a drive in the Jaguar F-Pace very pleasurable. Now, obviously, you do have start-stop as standard in this particular car. And moving over to the gearbox console, there's this swooping J design. This is a design that Jaguar have carried over since the days of the XK, XJ, and even the X-Type many years ago. So now it's been implemented to a modern 21st century look. Now, typically you'd find a gearbox here, but there's none. This is called the rotary Jaguar drive. Now, it sits flush with this particular wood trim around it and stainless steel exhausts, but when you start and fire up the vehicle like this, it rises up to the occasion and allows you to toggle through the different settings. So park, reverse, neutral, drive and sport mode, you're able to actually toggle through, and then when you switch it off, it goes down and sits flush in the system, making it have a very neat appearance on this gearbox console. Right below it, you have different settings for the dynamic control. So you have sport mode, race, economy, and of course you have the Jaguar all surface control system that actually allows you to vary the different settings of the all-wheel drive system and vary traction depending on the different grounds you're in. So you're able to control that and toggle through the settings, and of course through the Touch Pro system you're able to see what you're actually controlling. Being a crossover / SUV, practicality is the name of the game. So as you can see here, moving over to this part, it reveals actually two cup holders which are standard, and of course you do have electronic park brake and of course hill descent control which comes as standard in this particular car. Mr. Mirigi is going to show you all about what it can do. You have a wireless charging pad over here in the different options. So this one might not have it, but on the highest spec Jaguar F-Pace, you do have wireless charging options as standard in this F-Pace. Obviously, like I said, practicality again, you do have a massive space on the center console. You can actually put your cell phone, your valuables, and of course you do have different charging ports. You have a massive 12-inch one that you can put a cigarette lighter on or anything that charges, and then USB ports. There are 2 of them, so you're able to charge your devices and actually control and actually put music as it plays on their system.
This is a Jaguar, and with a Jaguar, the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is driving dynamics. So over here, we have an entire set of features that are set up for you to set the dynamic nature of this car. So you can actually set up the car yourself for whatever it is that you want to do to get the full potential of this car as a sports car. So what you're able to do is change the settings for the engine, the steering, and the gear shift. So you can make actually the steering harder, or you can make it softer, more dynamic for when you're driving on the road. You can make the engine response a lot better, and you can make the gear shifts a little faster. In addition to that, you actually have a stopwatch that allows you to do lap time. So this is a car that is built for people to drive and to drive fast and have a good time. In addition to that, you actually have a G meter. So when you're going around corners, it will actually show you the G forces that this car can give you. In addition to that, we have a meter here that shows you that how hard you're braking. So it actually will display over here how hard you're braking or how hard you're going on the throttle. Again, a Jaguar is all about the driving experience, how it feels to drive, and the settings in this system are optimized to help you pick the best for you specifically. Now going over to the next section over here, now we are moving to the communication segment of the infotainment system. So you can pair your phone over here, make and receive calls while you're on the move. In addition to that, we are here with that Meridian surround sound system is also available on this system, and you can control it from the screen as well as the buttons on the steering wheel on the side here. You also have specific settings for pairing or disconnecting your Bluetooth devices, and we have a master pin because this is a car that actually has what is called a valet mode. So you can actually shut off a lot of the functions in the car if you have to give the car to, let's say, somebody is washing the car or to a valet that's parking for you. You actually have the ability to lock down everything so that now somebody doesn't interfere with your settings. One key thing about this In Control Touch Pro system is you can actually customize the screen. You can actually pick and choose what you want to be on the home screen, just like you do on your phone, so you focus on the things that are important to you. Now, moving over to the steering wheel control, we have another screen in the middle here, and this is all about the car's settings. On the left, we have buttons for controlling the volume and skipping to the next track or previous track. These same settings also manage the system in the middle over here that allows you just to customize the displays that you have over here. So basically the units, you can switch them from kilometers per hour to miles per hour and the like. You can do that all in the middle here using this system on the side. You also have buttons for the phone and for the voice control system. On the right, because this car has cruise control and lane keeping assist, you can switch that on or off using the buttons on this side. So one button to switch on lane keeping assist and the car will stay within the lines on a highway. You can switch that on and off. If you veer off the road, it will actually turn you back onto the lane, keep you in the middle, keep you on the road, because you need to be safe in a car like this. Then we have, of course, now adaptive cruise control. This car has 2 cameras in the top over here, and it will sense the distance between a car in front, keep that distance. You can set the speed that you want to be at or the distance between you and the next car. That car speeds up, this car speeds up. That car slows down, this car also slows down. So for a very long trip, this will allow you to enjoy that cruise control setting. Coming round to the back of the Jaguar F-Pace, and it is surprising just how much space we have at the back here. It's a very comfortable place to sit. These seats are really, really nice. Jaguar did not come to play. We of course have a grab handle here because at the end of the day, this is a sports car and you will get thrown around quite a lot. Every surface that you touch feels premium, and I really like that. This oyster leather, the wood inlays over here, it's a very nice place to be in. In terms of comfort, we have, of course, air conditioning vents at the side, very, very nice. They're actually even written Jaguar. Attention to detail is the name of the game over here. For power, we actually have 2 USB ports at the back here and one 12-volt socket, which means 3 people can charge their devices across over here. So there's a big transmission tunnel in the middle here, which means that it is very comfortable for 2 adults and a child to sit in the middle over here. Speaking of children, we have ISOFIX points for child seats on both of the outboard seats over here to make sure that you keep your children safe while you're on the move. In the middle here, we have an armrest with additional cup holders to keep your cups standard, not moving around when this thing is on the move. Because this is 40-20-40, you can actually have access to the boot through here in the middle. You can either put something that's very long, or you can reach into the back and pull something if you need it. Coming round to the back of the Jaguar F-Pace, and first thing that we have is a power tailgate that opens to reveal a very wide cargo floor over here. We do have a raised area over here, but that's because this car has a full-size spare wheel, and these are very big wheels. These are 20-inch rims that are available here. The battery for the car is also under the spare tire. Over here we have tie-down points and a 12-volt socket, and the seats fold flat 40-20-40 like I had mentioned earlier, just to make sure that you have quite enough space inside here. But the name of the game here is performance. Let's take this on the road and see what it's like as a driving experience.
So you've seen what the F-Pace has. It's got style, it's got technology. I mean, it's very, very premium. But the question is, does it offer that sporty feeling that a Jaguar should have? So we're going to start today's review with this particular F-Pace. And the one that I'm driving is a special one. This is the top of the range 3-liter V6 supercharged. That on full tap like this, that is 380 horsepower on the beacon of my right foot, and actually it now pulls all the way from 0 to 100 in 5.5 seconds. And of course, with this 3-liter V6 supercharged, it has 450 Newton meters of torque that are sent to the 4-wheel courtesy of an 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, which is very responsive and adaptive to the needs and wants of my right foot. So that is a lot of power, and I can tell you, Jaguar are not playing. This particular engine is also found on the sporty F-Type, and of course, the numerous Jaguar vehicles on the XF and the XC. So up front, it does have double wishbone. At the back, you have rear integral link suspension, which allows this car to be very, very fast and handles extremely well. Coupled to that, you do have also adaptive shock absorbers that allows this car to be planted at any given situation. But the real question now remains, how good and how best does it handle with the all-wheel drive system? So basically, it's an all-wheel drive system that is actually from the Jaguar Land Rover family and has something called torque vectoring. Torque vectoring by braking is basically the ability of the ESP system to brake in individual wheels depending on how fast or how slow each corner or each wheel takes the power. So you are able to remain very safe and steady even on sharp curves like this one. So as you can see, I can do flat out and the suspension just handles extremely well. You hear that? So the steering becomes sharp, throttle becomes extremely sharp and sensitive, and of course the gearbox shifts very fast to ensure that you're actually hanging down on the lower gears to ensure that you have a lot of power.
So we are in the Jaguar F-Pace, and this is an SUV, which means it needs to be able to handle at least a little off-roading. This, of course, is a sports car. This is built for the tarmac, but it does have that high ground clearance and one feature that is set specifically for progress when you're going off-road. This is one of the only vehicles that has something that is called all-surface progress control, which is effectively a cruise control system for when you're driving off-road. So what I've done here is turned off onto a bit of a corrugated surface. This is not our usual off-road course, but it just simulates what the owner of a car like this would be doing. They'd probably be going to a place like this to inspect the farm, to inspect some construction, and we want to see if this car is going to be able to handle that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the car first, and then I'm going to set this button. And then what I use is the buttons for the cruise control once the car is in drive. The other thing that I've done is that I've put the car in the normal setting, so it's not the sport setting. The sport setting on this car means that the throttle response is incredibly fantastic, which is good when you're trying to go as fast as possible. But when you're off the road, you need to be going as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. So what we are doing over here is actually setting the speed on the all-surface progress control, which I'm doing with the buttons on the steering wheel here. And what that does is that it allows me to take my foot off the accelerator and let the car pull itself, similar to what a lot of off-road vehicles do when they're in a low-range crawl mode. So here we're going over a bit of a rocky section, and the car is handling itself very well. The other reason I removed the dynamic driving package over here is so that I could also make the suspension a little softer. Now, this being an off-road vehicle means that the suspension is a bit high, has a lot of travel, and we are actually pretty comfortable when we are off the road here. This 3-liter V6 is giving me more than enough power to slowly creep through this section with this all-surface progress control system, which is basically just setting the speed and allowing the car to pull itself through this setting. One of the driving settings that we have here is a setting for rain, ice, and snow, which in the Kenyan setting is effectively one that manages the traction control, what each and every wheel is doing to make sure that you can get out of a muddy situation. So we are about to check into a bit of a muddy situation right now, and we want to see what the car is going to do. And as we can see, we are actually able to get through this using those two things, which is now the mode for rain, ice, and snow, which in our setting is actually helping with mud, and then the all surface progress control. So you can get off the road a little with this car, just to make sure that you can get to the place that you want to go. But let's see how this stacks up against the competition. Let's go to Value for Money.
Today on Big Cat Diaries, we've been privileged to see the cat, this big cat in action. It's not in South America, it's right here in Nairobi, Kenya, and the name is a Jaguar F-Pace. That sterling V6 supercharged, the sound, the crackling pops of the exhaust, I can tell you, it's a recipe for fun. Mr. Munig, what are your thoughts on this particular car?
This is a sports car before it is anything else. You know, this is Jaguar's first SUV, but I don't think SUV was the name of the game here. The sports part is what they were talking about. This has been an amazing experience. We were able to check out the F-Type the last time we were in South Africa, Jaguar Land Rover Experience Center, and I can feel that sporty DNA running through this. The heart of this beast, that 3-liter supercharged V6. Oh my God, this is quite something. I couldn't believe it. We were actually able to take this cat off the road, and it could handle itself off the road just as well as it could do on the road, which means this is really something that is really quite amazing.
So who are the key rivals in this segment?
Well, the key rivals for this car in this segment, which is of course now premium SUV, we are looking at the BMW X5, which we had before, and the Porsche Cayenne.
Now, how much does it cost on the road?
Well, the prices for this one, which is now the 35T, this comes in at 110,000 US, which at today's exchange rate works out to about 11.7 million shillings.
Warranty is important. People want to know how big are the warranties? Are they good?
Well, the warranty for this car is a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer warranty, whichever comes first.
Wow, guys, that has been an exciting show. I'm telling you, we are all just flabbergasted in the presence of this Jaguar F-Pace. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or queries, do not hesitate to write to us as seen on the social media handles below, and we'll get back to you next week. Well, signing out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mirigi. Drive safe
and be safe.